guys, Mr. Johnny here, and in this video I decided to show you my lab, if you can call it that. Now I'm gonna try to keep this video short, so I'm gonna try to touch on everything, but quickly go across to the next item. So in order to catch the entire lab, I just need to step back a couple of steps. It's 1, 2, and you're seeing the whole lab in its glory. That's it, the corner of a room. Sitting right next to this big ass fridge, which makes a racket, exciting sound show when the compressor kicks in. So I'm gonna be happy if it won't kick in during the video. So let's go. Table. Table is just a generic wooden table and a generic chairs that I sit on, that I just put some old blankets as a cushion. Because let me tell you, sitting hours and couple of hours on the wood like that is not fine. Not fun at all. So the table is just a wooden table covered with with some kind of plastic. That's it. Okay, next items on the table. Here I have my scope, which is an old Soviet scope from 80s. And judging from the date codes on a part, single channel 10 MHz bandwidth. On top of it is a handmade power supply, 0 to 21 volts, up to 2 amps. Next I have a tape measure here, magnifying lens, a calculator, a box with wires and stuff. Lighting is done with this fluorescent fixture, which used to have only one tube, but I put two. And here I have a switch to select one tube or two tubes, 18 or 36 watts. The fixture is bolted to this glorious shelf, which I made from a case of an old television. And the shelf consists of 3 sections, you can see, and on top of stuff on top. So here I have a junk box, kinda used parts, clipped off leads for when I'm working on a pair of boards. Also there, tucked right there, closer to the wall, are drill bits, 2 more containers like that with old capacitors, old but still good capacitors for testing purposes, and switches. Here is an RA flux, just an activated rosin, smashed and dissolved in alcohol, with a little needle on top of it. It's stuck on. Oh boy, I'm just pissing away seconds of time. Here you can see the needle. Let's make sure I won't tip it over, because it will make a sticky mess. Here you can see what I used to organize the parts. Not all of them, just a small fraction. Resistors, capacitors and whatnot. You got the idea. Here I have another little container, all filled with scavenged parts. Here is a little container with glues, another glue, some lacquer, which it's a green lacquer. I use it to somehow repair the solder mask when I'm repairing something. A fine solder, 0.6 mm for SMD wok, eutectic alloy. Here a couple of lighters to heat shrink, obvious. Have a couple of old toothbrushes to clean dust off of the PCBs, clean the flux residue in conjunction with acetone and stuff like that. Toothpicks to poke holes in solder when I'm too lazy to use a wick for that. Next is a screwdriver set, $10 on eBay, well, at least it used to be. Here's the inductance and capacitance meter, handmade, as you can see from this bodginess. I don't think you can buy inductance capacitance meter in a container from a butter. Yep. There I have another junk box. Miscellaneous stuff, I won't go over it. A cable, USB to barrel jacks for charging this mainly, which is a transistor tester. I covered it in another video. Here's a charging socket. Oops. Here I have my Zener tester. I have a video about this on my channel. Here I have another sort of component storage, cheap-ass style. You can see power transistors, small transistors, diodes, power, and stuff like that. You got the idea. And here's the ferrites. Have this few with the trim pots, mics, crystals. Here I have polarized capacitors, well, electrolytics. Here I have film caps. This smaller box is filled with resistors. There's another box with high voltage electrolytics. Sorry for the lighting. Here I have these multimeters. It's the first decent multimeter that I've bought. Then I bought this black one, which I successfully fried and repaired. Now it's working a treat. It uses now two dead AA's to work. And after I fried this meter, I wasn't sure if I'm gonna be able to repair it or not, so I bought this meter to replace it, because I so gotten used to having two multimeters. Oh boy. Zener tester makes a racket. Okay, I've covered the transistor tester. Here are just boxes with resistors and whatnot. See? This box contains pretty much the same, with few extra frills. Here is a little where I keep ICs and stuff. You can see SMD ICs, and you got the idea. A collection of integrated circuits. Here I have another glorious container with power parts, Zeners, bridges, Schottky diodes. And on top of that I have this, which mainly contains LEDs. Actually I can turn the light. Mainly contains LEDs, MOSFETs, some miscellaneous parts, audio amplifiers. Some are new, some are scavenged from the boards, and this flop, which I bought to be my inductance capacitance meter, but it came out to be pure crap, so that's why I've built this, which works excellent. And yeah, see, lithium-ion battery. Here it is. Alright. Here is a box again with parts and whatnot. Here's an amplified speaker with LM386 that I used as a test speaker whenever I'm working on some kind of, you know, FM radio receivers and whatnot. Right there you can see a bunch of 18650s, a couple from an old laptop pack. This is the first breadboard I've ever bought. Here's a little box with power parts, bridges, the transistors in 203 packages and stuff like that. My PCB drill press, magnifying visor, function generator, DDS. Inside it's a mess. Again, if you're interested in something you saw, like power supply or that generator, let me know. I'm gonna make a more detailed video just about it. Okay, so on the table I have again a couple of junk trays. There's a box with Michelin's junk, Kapton tape, solder wicks, alligator clips. I'm not a tidy boy, as you can see. Just a bunch of tools which I frequently use: flax pen, screwdriver, tweezers, X-Acto knife, mechanical pencil, bunch of markers and whatnot, 9-volt batteries nearby. Here I have my soldering station with a solder, rosin on top of it. And a soldering iron is a typical Hekko 900M series knockoff. Okay, so that's on top of it. What's on top of it? On this side I have a bunch of receptacles. This is for scope, this for power supply, soldering station, hot glue gun, soldering gun. Speaking of those, here is a hot glue gun and here a soldering gun. Oxytrit, 100 watts. Works well for my purposes. And the box they sit on contains just wires, mains, cable, flex, as it's sometimes called. Light bulbs for the use as current limiters whenever I'm working on some mains projects, like switch mode power supplies, and I don't want to blow them up the first time I apply power to them, alright? Here I have just a bag filled with wires and whatnot. Beneath the table, on this kind of shelf, have some tools, have pliers. The light is awkward, I know it, sorry. Utility knife, couple of screwdrivers, junk box. Here's actually a heatsink compound I bought cheaply. Just a little bag with fluxes, couple of hot glue sticks nearby. Again, a junk box, big junk box, big junk box, big junk box. A caliper for measuring some odds and ends. And even beneath this shelf, if you will, I have a couple of boxes full of junk PCBs, which I pull components from time to time. You can see a couple of motherboards, boards from CRT television, from CRT monitor. I also have a tin snips. They work well for snipping the glass fiber board I used to make my own PCBs. Speaking of PCBs, I have see those two bottles. They contain ferric chloride solution, and this is a ferric chloride in not so as it came, not in solution apparently. So beneath the table I also have this convenient gap where I keep the needle nose pliers, and this magnet with these Jubilers cheap ass screwdrivers, which work extremely well for prying CFLs apart and some other plastic creatures. By the way, speaking of gaps, that's where I store my insulation strippers, wire strippers, and side cutters. Okay, here I have a drill which I use to make large holes in enclosure and whatnot. A mechanical one, you can see a handle on it, alright. Right here you can see a box with a transformers. Oh, let me get it out. You can see a box with the transformers, quite a few of them. Here I have another sort of a cabinet, if you can call it that way, which has a bunch of paper on it, and that's where I keep my schematics in a paper format. Not tidy again, but I told you, I'm not a tidy boy. See, just random stuff like that. Sometimes the secrets I really like, they deserve to be written in this kind of notepad. Okay, here I have my fully portable speaker. Here I have it's my semi-portable speaker. And this also has a little box from a tea with bergamot. Cool. Full with, almost full with little incandescent lamps I've gotten from my grandfather. Next I have this box filled with, you know, potentiometer switches and whatnot. Duct tape, you can never live without it. Neither you can without WD-40. And what's most interesting in this area is not the wires, but this box, which contains my projects. This is an alkaline charger AA AAA. That's a UV lamp I've tried when I was experimenting with negative photoresist, making PCBs with it. Now I stick with toner transfer because it's very quick toner transfer. This is a handmade watt meter, true watt meter, displays 1 millivolt equals 1 watt. Secret from Danik. Interested, leave a comment. Here's a battery capacity meter, again secret by Danik. This is my little chargers that I hacked together as a case from some switching charger for mobile phones. I made it to be a 6 volt or 12 volt lead acid battery charger. Very slim, very light. It can supply half an amp of current, so good size for small batteries. By the way, I have 2 small batteries. Here they are, you can see 6 volt, 12 volt. For the applications where I need a purest DC source available. Guess what? Battery. Here I have a few more projects. A 9 volt alkaline battery charger. I use this before I gotten familiar with DC to DC converters. Now I can use 2 AA's and a boost converter to replace 9 volt and instead of recharging it multiple times and getting my hand filthy with machine oil. And a couple of more projects, not that interesting anymore. And that's a mess. Oh, that's pretty much it, boys and girls. That's my lab. Damn, I need to take that, cram it all back in. That's a hassle. Phew. Now, you may have noticed that I have, in my videos, I have 2 workbenches. Sometimes it's this bluish, greenish sort of color, and sometimes it's a brown workbench. Well, the brown workbench is in the shed, which is outside, and it's not heated, and it's fall now. It's 27th of November, but it's cold outside, so I can't be there. So I move in whenever it gets cold outside, and I move out whenever it gets warm outside. So yeah, all of this stuff goes in and out, in and out. It's a pain. Okay, so maybe in the summertime I will make a video about the lab I have in a shed. It's quite a bit bigger. It has a nice big shelves which I can put crap on. So that's that. Again, if you're interested in some stuff like soldering station, power supply and whatnot, leave a comment describing what you want to see and I will do a review about that in more detail. Phew. So yes, thanks for watching. See you.